Intelligence Agency making a contract with the and viruses and microorganisms.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah, this is from AIDS well, let me see. I'm getting my note. Let's just follow my notes. I'm jumping ahead. This is from www.avert.org.
Right.
I'll say it again, www.avert.org. We're going to talk about Africa. In sub-Saharan Africa, there's over 1 million deaths in AIDS-related phenomena per year throughout the 90s and the 2000s. 1 million people die in Africa per year. We're talking about a major reduction in Africans' population, and it doesn't look like a green monkey gave this virus out, but it just might be a sheep virus mixed with a human virus mixed with synthetic DNA.
Wow.
That would make a more scientific awareness of where this... that I was able to make during the writing of this article. The correlation is this: the countries who have the highest rates of AIDS-related deaths in Africa now are those very countries that have a history of the most rebellion against Western political domination. Congo, now Zaire, had a revolution to change the name and kick out the colonials, and now they're called Zaire. South Africa, we all know what happened there. Kenya and Angola and even Nigeria have the highest rates of AIDS-related deaths.
Mama.
We're going to go... the hepatitis B vaccine was given out to the homosexual community in New York City to ostensibly stem the hepatitis B infections. However, it was found that guess what was in the vaccine was HIV.
Wow.
So HIV was being injected into these homosexual men ostensibly in 1989 to help fight that particular virus called hepatitis B. Now I think for the shocker of them all, this is, and we're going to lead into part 2 after this, but I want you to why this isn't front page news, but guess what that patent's called?
Wow. Give it to me.
The cure for AIDS.
Spook. Wow.
Yes, it is. There's a U.S. patent at home.
Ooh, spook. Wow.
You could probably make that at home, and I'll go over it just one more time. I think it's that important. You can cure HIV infection, totally rid the body of HIV infection from 40 parts per million of a silver colloidal solution. Again, 2 nanosilver particles, and the second part is 2 trivalent silver particles. So that is a tetrahedral, they call that. Tetrahedral silver solution.
Oh, my Lord. Wow.
Yeah. How's that for some deep research, huh?
Amazing. I think the crowd is living for that. And the girls are about to make some labs at home. I can see it now. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to stop the shade. Oh, wow.
No.
Amazing.
Yeah. Now, what I'd like to get into in part 2 is something that's close to my heart, and this really is an amazing amount of information that should get the children all riled up, and because what we're seeing now is such an increase in violence against trans people this year, and we'll get into the statistics. I'm going to throw some science and statistics out here, and some very deep history of the ballroom scene as well. So I think you'll enjoy hearing about it. I want to talk a bit about Venus Extravaganza. I must tell you that I personally just adore Venus. She's one of my favorite people ever. I myself am one of millions of fans around the world, and she was just who she was. She wasn't a big star, but she became a star because she did make it into that controversial film, Paris is Burning, but she was unforgettable, and she was an unforgettable part of the club scene. Now, we want to talk about the strange murder, and I'm going to talk about a website I want you to check out sometime called Dazed Digital. I enjoyed going there. It was www.dazeddigital.com, and it calls Venus Extravaganza's murder grisly. And grisly it was. It was not a normal murder. She was found in a hotel room she was staying in. She was disemboweled. Now, not to get too graphic, but that means that her innards were pulled out. Okay, rumor has it, too, that her testicles were put into her mouth, and she was, of course, bled to death from the stab wounds. Again, I want to bring up the concept of ritual murder. This is going to show up a couple of times in transgender murders, and ritual murder is something a little bit more conspiratorial than just an angry boyfriend who, or a pissed off sex partner or something like that. This is something a little bit deeper. You see, the mafia often murders with a ritualistic taint to some of their murders, etc., where there's elaborate stuff going on. Now, we did have a strange thing happening recently on the internet, on Facebook actually, where a website, a Facebook page for Venus Extravaganza came up, and of course that couldn't be Venus, but it was just simply called Venus Extravaganza, and it was an anonymous person behind it claiming that they had secret information about the murder and about her life in general. And we have the House of Extravaganza, I should mention, made a public statement that they don't know who that is, and they don't really acknowledge it because they don't know what it's really all about. We also have an eventual statement apparently by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, that said that this is just a fan of Venus's who's put up a page. So anyway, that was their conclusions, but I just think it's very strange that someone would utilize Venus's name in such a way rather than using maybe just, their own name or some sort of name of their own, rather than say that this looks like it's Venus Extravaganza herself up there.
Wow.
Now, there's someone we have to go back in time with. Everyone knows Stonewall. Everyone knows what happened there. And
yes, let's talk about Stonewall, Donning.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Stonewall was the kickoff for the gay rights movement in this country, possibly in large part of the world. Possibly it influenced that ripple effect. This is from www.transreport.com, and I got some information from there. www.transreports.com. Let's give a shout out for a real star, Marsha Pay It No Mind Johnson. This is the founding member of what's called STAR. Now, STAR became an activist group after the Stonewall rebellion in order to keep the activism fire going. And founding members were Marsha Pay It No Mind Johnson and Sylvia Rivera, and we'll come back to Sylvia in a minute on her Tumblr blog, which I'll quote. We have a situation where STAR, which is Street Transsexuals, Activists, Revolutionaries, okay? Something very 1960s and 70s, right. I think, there.
Yes. First of all, let me give a shout out to STAR, first of all, because there's a lot of things going on that we need to justify, by the way. Go ahead. You know that we went ahead, but I'm going to bring you back, and we're going to go back down the list, right?
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Okay, great, go.
That's fine. Now, since the 70s, Marsha was a diehard activist out on the streets with STAR information, giving it out to the public all the time. Let's see what year it was. I believe it was 1999 or 98, just after the gay parade that summer. Marsha was found floating in the Hudson River.
Wow.
Marsha Johnson was found floating in the Hudson River.
There was a rumor it was like 2002, something like that.
Yeah, I don't have I apologize. I made a little sloppy note on the year there, and I couldn't read it exactly. I think it was actually in 98.
98, right?
But we can go back and check that. But I believe she was found in the year 1998. That would be about July something, after the gay parade. And here's the funny thing. The police just reopened this case last year in 2014 because they could not tell how she died. It certainly wasn't a suicide. She was found in a bag floating in the river, so she couldn't have bagged herself. There are some witnesses to the scene there. They said they saw Marsha for the last time, and Marsha was being sort of bullied by 4 men on the pier, okay, on the Hudson River pier. So she's being bullied by 4 men, and then suddenly she's floating. The real question is, did those 4 men put her in the river, and why?
And how did she get in a bag?
Yeah, right, exactly. Floating in a body bag,
she was floating in a body bag, or what kind of bag was it?
Well, no, I believe that it was an actual body bag, but I have to go back and check that. That's what came up in my research. It sounded so strange, but I think the reason that they did it was that they wouldn't find her, but somehow the bag opened and the body was exposed, and they did find her, and they were able to identify her. They didn't want her found. So my understanding of the entire incident, and anybody wants to call me out if they can find out different on anything that they research, please, I'll give you my email at the end, and you guys can email me because, that's my research shows me that she was found in a body bag. Now, a body bag, mind you, is only owned by the police.
Okay.
The police would have body bags.
Wow.
Okay. Now, this was people who were up against the New York police force from the beginning. They were really in it. Now, listen to this explanation by Sylvia Rivera, a friend of Marsha's and co-founder of the Star. Sylvia blogs on her Tumblr site. She says that Marsha and I decided to get a building for Star to get away from, and quote-unquote, the mafia control of the bar scene and corrupt cops.
Okay. Very New York City, no. Well,
so I bring